It is my personal pleasure to introduce our keynote presenter, Lori Schwartz. Lori is a true technology catalyst, the tech cat, and a leading advisor in media and tech innovation. She's currently curating LA's newest event, the Infinity Festival Hollywood, focused on storytelling enabled by tech. Lori's also getting ready to welcome folks back to Las Vegas for Story Tech's show floor tours at the 2022 Consumer Electronics Show. Oh my God, I'm going to be in person again. Her first book, called What's Your Tech Story, is coming out early next year. So, clearly Lori has nothing on her plate right now. Today, however, Lori is going to cover 5 big things happening in tech that's influencing our worlds today. Her credentials are just so incredibly impressive. She's one of the most interesting people I know. So please be sure to check out her full bio on our speaker page. We are truly lucky to have her. Welcome, Lori. You have the floor.
Thank you, Audra. Thank you for inviting me to do this. And I've enjoyed watching your career as well, and running into you on family activities also all the time in Los Angeles. But hi, everybody. Good morning. If you are on the West Coast, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. That's the exciting thing about right now, is that you could be coming in from anywhere in the world and watching this great content. And what we're going to do, I think, for the next 20 minutes is really talk about technology in a slightly different way. And I want to approach it from telling a tech story and really merging that idea of Hollywood storytelling with the idea of technology. And so we're going to use some trends to surround that idea. But I wanted to start it off with this other concept here, that this is from Jonathan Goodshall's book, The Storytelling Animal. And it's really focused on this idea that the more deeply we are cast under a story spell, the more potent its influence. In fact, fiction is more potent at challenging belief than nonfiction. And my greatest example there is that all of us are walking around wondering if Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to show up at our door and either try and save us or kill us. And that's everybody's sort of idea about technology. It's almost burnt into our consciousness. So I want to introduce some other ideas about tech in a short amount of time. And this can be explored for all of your businesses, as well as you look at telling your own tech story. And what we're going to do is just look at a few of them right now that will help wrap our heads around what's really happening right now. And I think the first one, which everyone has experienced together really, is this idea that there's a perfect storm happening right now, a true digital matchup of almost a lot of tech trends all happening at once that have created the scenario that we're in right now. And these are the tech trends that you've been hearing, or the hype you've been hearing all over town for the last couple of years, really, wherever you live. And these are all coming together right now in a unique way, spurred by COVID, of course, because we were all at home. And you can really think about how much technology really saved our lives in the last year. It allowed us to keep our businesses going, our schools going. It kept our families connected and our friends connected. And that was because of a number of things all happening at the same time. And we can talk about 5G on its own, but when you put 5G under artificial intelligence, and then you take artificial intelligence and 5G together and you look at what's happening in immersive content right now, and then you also talk about the impact that the cloud is having. And I want to spend a little more time on the cloud too, but think about all of these things separately, but then think about what they have done to our world when you put them all together. And it's really created this insane digital transformation. And just for a second more on 5G and the cloud, and I don't think a lot of us really understand the role that the cloud is playing right now in pumping all of this content and technology through our world. And I've recently gone on a tour and been introduced to the concept of the data center, right? And we're all dealing now with so much data. And what's really important is partnering up with data centers that can push your content out there. And so we're dealing with edge servers now, which allow you to leverage thin devices, which are just screens, and then sending content and having AI activate on applications. So it's a really exciting time in our world. And this is just a really sexy shot of a data center. And I know it's hard to think of a data center as sexy, but I am telling you, they are so cool. And in the US right now, we have about 40% of the world's data center. We're playing a really big role in helping the world move forward with all of this great content happening in these servers that are located nearby and further out to really power all of our company's businesses. And this is just an example of one tech story that's being powered by data centers and 5G and AI and all of these things that I'm talking about. And that's the future of the screen. Screens are getting thinner. They are getting better at how they look based on the space between the little, the little pixels inside of the screens. You can see how they can bend and flex now. And they're also showing up in automobiles in different ways and environments. They are just really the future of a lot of how brands and content creators are going to be reaching the consumer, whatever kind of story you tell. And they're just a great example of a tech story inside of this large tech explosion that's happening that we've all been talking about. And I think also for all of us that are content creators in Hollywood right now, the future of the screen and the LED wall is really what's powered and been the underbelly for virtual production this year. And that's been a game changer for getting things made during a global pandemic. And so if you're a fan of The Mandalorian, of course, famously leveraged virtual production, one of the first ongoing TV series to do that. And that wall behind that motorcycle is all LED. So that's a great tech story and a great example of how all these technologies are coming together. Another big trend that's being powered by this digital mashup is the fact that consumers and brands and everybody now are looking at delivering an experience and not just a thing. And you're going to hear these words all the time in the next year: immersive, interactive, engaging, and experiential. And that's the idea of giving someone an experience that they can remember. So not a thing, but some sort of activation that, really turns them on. And I recently went to a great experience called Dining in the Dark in Las Vegas, where me and my colleagues had dinner completely in the dark. And we were led into a room by a waiter who was wearing, seeing goggles, dark seeing goggles. It was the most extraordinary experience of my life, honestly. At first, my heart was beating fast because you're in complete pitch dark, but then you find yourself adjusting and other senses activate. And I really still haven't stopped thinking about it. It was 3 months ago, and I'm still blown away. Other experiences that are coming. So if you're in any major metropolitan right now, there are lots of great interactive art exhibits happening now in Los Angeles. Run, Don't Walk to the Van Gogh exhibit, which is an immersive art experience and translates art into an interactive and immersive experience. And for these guys, it's all about getting great projection technology, right? Projection tech to make these walls really gorgeous. It's also about getting real estate so that they can own sections of a town, and great IP to tell stories. So this is going to be an interesting area, an interesting category of content and entertainment as they move maybe beyond art and into other content. So really exciting, really immersive, and please go. You will be crying, laughing, all sorts of emotions will happen to you when you jump into this experience. And check this out.
You have this feeling of weightlessness, and your brain can no longer tell which direction you're facing or moving. The feeling of the water and breathing through the snorkel all add to this experience, making it incredibly immersive. During the ocean diver experience, where you sink down into the depths of the ocean following the whale, everything combined cleverly tricks your brain into feeling like you're moving deeper into the water. I was really surprised at how effective this was.
Let me just stop the video for a second before I go on to the next one. And that is basically taking VR, which I hope all of you have an Oculus headset or some headset, and bringing it home and exploring all the great content that has really exploded in the last year in VR. Amazing things happening, the future of work. That could be a whole nother half-day conference on just what's happening in that space. But imagine now combining physical sensation with VR. And these folks are walking around feeling like they've been scuba diving, right? Here's another example of how immersive content is changing our world.
Volumetric capture provides the freedom of a virtual environment coupled with a single physical performance captured from every angle in a single take.
The reason I wanted to show you that is because volumetric capture right now, and that technology, which is just getting more and more sophisticated, has the ability to capture a full live performance, any type. It could be a historical figure, it could be a live figure, or in the case of this company, 4D Fun, they're actually capturing artists who are singing songs, doing their act, and then they're dropping them into environments. And in this case, they're called metaverses, which you're going to learn all about in a few presentations. But I want to show you how you take the volumetric capture, a 3D but fully live capture of a human being, drop it into an environment, and now you have a whole new form of entertainment. Let's check this out. So what they've done here is they've scanned this artist, they've dropped him in an environment, and with a VR headset on, I can pay a fee, which manifests as an NFT. And again, that's a whole nother conversation that our friends on the Metaverse panel will talk you through, Kathy Hackle. But you can actually pay a fee through the NFT, and you can actually get on stage and be dancing and enjoying your favorite artist, right? So talk about an experience, right? All of your favorite artists now, if you can't get to the concert, but you can join them in a metaverse. And then the next trend I want to talk about is this idea of experiences, and again, tech all being curated. And it's that personalization that we've all been hearing about. Curation is going to become the new gold. And check this out. This is the front shot of an app called Fever. And I'm hoping all of you have had a chance to explore Fever. But if you're ever looking for something to do on an evening or a weekend or during the day, Fever curates experiences. And it's a great app in any city you are. And if you log onto it, what you'll notice is it's not about just going to a screening, but it's really going to an experience. And all of these write-ups and all of these events, again, use those words: immersive, experience, engagement. But it's a curation of things to do at a whole nother level in whatever city you are. So definitely check it out. But again, read the titles of these different events. It blows my mind away. Every single description has the word immersive in it. And then lastly, on the curation side, I just wanted to talk about this idea, and I'm sure a lot of you have put smart technology into your home. But what's happening now with smart technology is that because it's coupled with personal assistance, the curation now of these experiences is getting smarter and smarter. And just as an example, I haven't quite done this in my house yet. I do have my whole house rigged to turn on and off when I want it to. But what people are doing now is literally flavoring, curating their mood based on the color and lights and even scent of their home. And what's starting to happen is that the AI assistants are asking, oh, it's 5 o'clock, you're finishing your day. Would you like the lavender scent now and the purple light? And you're going to start to see homes literally becoming a manifestation of your mood, curated for your own needs and curated based on your behavior over time. So really interesting. And again, you can shut all of this stuff off. I'm not saying that your house is going to take over. Where again, it's not about Arnold Schwarzenegger here. This is about making your life more interesting and building a lifestyle that's interesting and exciting to you. And this is the last little example of this curation, but this is a company in LA and in Vegas, and I think LA is closed right now. And they take you on a whiskey distillery tour. And they curate this whole experience. It's sort of steampunk meets sort of like, early 20th century. inside of this environment where you do taste. They've curated tastes of their whiskeys and rums and other things like that. But the whole experience is about walking into this room. There's music playing. It's darkly lit. And then they have these fun holograms singing to you in the different rooms. And this is, again, a little bit of screen technology and other things, but they actually have someone singing to you and performing in the different rooms. So while you're waiting, you have a great performance. But it all creates an experience that leaves you with that brand aesthetic of this distillery. And I for sure wanted to take home a few bottles of the whiskey, and I'm not even a whiskey person, I swear. But the vibe, the curation of this experience got me so excited that I wanted to spend more time with this brand. And the other thing I just discovered, and this is so much fun, and another great example of curation, and again, this is where I think brands and media companies can really have a great time, is that my Alexa right now has curated Halloween skills. So if you go onto your Alexa or whatever your personal assistant is, and they're all doing this, you can check off skills that are related to Halloween. And there are Halloween stories, there are Halloween sounds, there are all sorts of really clever Halloween activations to flavor your month of October with your personal assistant. And this is a great opportunity for any IP owner to write some skills and to get in the game with these personal assistants, again, curating an experience. And lastly, this is just a really unique phenomenon that's been happening over the last couple of years. And this is the emergence of influencer houses. And this is when a bunch of Snapchat chatters or TikTokers or anybody all go into a house, and they're all there to create content, and hopefully it gets funded by somebody. Check this out.
Have you ever wondered why you've never seen a bilingual content house on the internet? That's because we're the first to do it. This is Tejas House.
So Tejas House is a bilingual influencer house. And again, the goal of these influencer houses is to put a bunch of influencers all in one area so that they can create content together in their own unique ways. So interesting, and just another interesting concept around that curation idea. All right, and lastly, I just want to jump into, and I know I have 6 minutes left, so I'm going to do this kind of fast, but this is this idea that games, not just the kind that you play on computers, but the gaming aesthetic, the gaming idea and gaming technology is infiltrating the entertainment industry in all sorts of different ways. And this is just a great slide on the gaming omniverse. And I'm totally forgetting the gentleman's name that does these slides, and I will send it to Audra in the next half hour. But he creates these beautiful landscapes. Oh, that's it. Thank you, Audra. Evan Shapiro. Evan Shapiro makes these beautiful landscapes, and please follow him on LinkedIn because he is absolutely insightful. But you could see the way that this world is going down, and gaming, just as the idea of gaming itself, is exploding into all sorts of new areas. But where, for me, it gets really interesting is that there's a thin line between gaming and Hollywood. First of all, in virtual production, that slide I showed you from Mandalorian, the tools that are being used right now to power virtual production are gaming engines, right? Gaming engines are basically on the fly compositing what's going on those LED walls I showed you with actors and staff all putting together, all pumping through that engine. And then the distribution of gaming now. What's so interesting is that live streaming for gaming on Twitch and all of these other platforms, and there are quite a few of them now emerging, is acting like television streaming. So gaming is now becoming another content category in live streaming. And then when you look at the execution of some of these gaming platforms, this is a gentleman sitting in his living room watching on a screen that could look like any television monitor in any home. So we're not relegated now to that teenage boy playing in the basement on a tiny screen, but the consumption of gaming platforms now has really changed as well. And it's also showing up in other modalities. This is HoloLive. Check this out. So basically, you put on a headset And the VR has actually been synchronized to the motion of the car you're in. And you actually play a game while you're in the car. Now, you're not driving, of course, but because that might actually help LA a little bit. But this is a synchronized game VR experience that by the propelling of the motion of the car impacts the content on the screen. So a game, a car ride, a immersive VR experience. And there's going to be more great examples of this coming out from HoloRide over the next years. And another great example of that category moving into other space, I don't know if you guys have checked out fitness equipment in the last year. This is a rower by a company called Averon, and they have actually gamified the rowing experience. And there are a number of them coming out, and I believe Peloton will be coming out soon, and I'm waiting for that rower, that gamify the experience of exercise. And this is not just in competing with other rowers, but this is literally being a character in the game while you row, which is motivating a lot of folks to get their fitness on. And then this other video, whoopsie. This other video is a new screen, and this is, I believe this is Facebook's new screen that allows for kids to interact with adults, but by projecting an interactive touchscreen surface so that they can play a game with their grandparents or their family so that they are actually more engaged in conversation. So this is a bunch of different technology trends coming together, projection, some computer science, and also just audiovisual behaviors. Okay, now this one, I love this. I'm just going to let you watch this, and then I have 1 minute, so we'll talk about it after that.
Una prueba de embarazo. Y aquí está embarazado.
The results are fed back to our studio in real time, and the cast proceeds with one version of the script accordingly.
It's going to be the lawyer. The lawyer is pregnant. In 3, 2, 1.
Yo estoy embarazado.
So this is a Spanish soap opera project by Butcherbird Studios that they did about a year or so ago. And they actually let the audience through Twitch and other platforms, Twitter, social media, vote on what they wanted to happen with the characters. And then the actors were all improvisers ready to change their whatever their behavior of their character was going to do based on the reaction to the audience. And so they gamified the narrative of the soap opera in order to make it more engaging. And so this is the world that we're entering now, where gamification is not only about that omniverse that Evan Shapiro put up there, but also the modalities around all of this. And I think that's it. Oops. Thank you so much, Audra. Thank you for this opportunity to share all these great trends with your audience.
Oh my goodness, Lori. First of all, love everything that you present. It's so fantastic to hear your POV on these things because you're living and breathing them and seeing them happen and develop every day. 2 things. First of all, the underwater VR experience, literally sign me up right now. I absolutely want to do that. Like hashtag take me there, right? Like that is for sure a fear of missing out for me. That's a FOMO. Second, that soap opera thing, I had seen it before, but I'm so glad that you brought that up and reminded all of us of that. I feel like the immediate application is for upcoming episodes of Maury, where someone's like, is he the father?
Right, right. And that's gamification. It really is. It's a mind blow what's going on out there.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. We really appreciate all of your time and everything that you put into this presentation for us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody.